All right, so we are now going to be talking about counterexamples. Counterexamples are how we show that a conditional statement is false. So first, let's review identifying the hypothesis and conclusion in a conditional statement. Conditional statement we will look at is if we are in math class, then it is Monday. Take a moment right now to pause the video, copy this into your notes, and identify the hypothesis and conclusion. Ready to continue? All right. So the hypothesis in this statement was we are in math class. Remember, the hypothesis is always the part that comes after the word if, but does not include the word if. The conclusion is it is Monday. The conclusion always comes after the word then, does not include the word then. If you did not get this right in your notes, take a moment to fix it now. All right, next question. Is this true or false? And how do you know? Got your answer ready? All right, hopefully you said that this is false. There's a variety of correct ways to argue that this is false. One possible answer would be, I know this is false because today we are in math class, but it is Tuesday. Notice in this answer, the word today is really important. That is the specific example that you are citing to explain why this is false. You then followed that up with a reference to both the hypothesis and the conclusion in the original statement. The hypothesis was we are in math class, and here we said today, we are in math class. So the hypothesis from that original statement is true for the example that we're looking at. Then we said, but, that but is very important. It is Tuesday. So our original conclusion was it is Monday. In our example here, we're saying it is Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday are different days, so if we're saying that it's Tuesday, that means that it's not Monday. This is called a counterexample. A counterexample is how you show that a conditional statement is false. So the anatomy of a counterexample, you always start with a specific example that shows the statement is false. Here, that specific example was today. You then explain that in your example, the hypothesis is true. So that's the part that we said, we are in math class. Today, in the specific example, the hypothesis of we are in math class is true because we are in math class. You then explain that in your example, the conclusion is false. That's the part that we said, but it is Tuesday. The original conclusion was it is Monday. We're saying here that conclusion is not true. It's Tuesday today. So we're going to look at another example together. I'm going to give a conditional statement that I know is false, and I'm going to give two options for a counterexample. Your job is to decide which one is a good counterexample. Conditional statement, if it is Wednesday, then we are in school. Two options for counterexample. Option 1, this is false because today we are in school, but it is not Wednesday. Option 2, this is false because in July there were Wednesdays, but we were not in school. Take a moment right now to pause the video, copy down this conditional statement, and write down which one of these two counterexamples you think is the correct counterexample. Got your choice? All right. The correct counterexample here is option 2. This is false because in July there were Wednesdays, but we were not in school. In order to understand why, let's look at the hypothesis and conclusion. In our original conditional statement, the hypothesis was it is Wednesday. In this example, we said in July there were Wednesdays. So the hypothesis, Wednesday happens, is true in this counterexample. True hypothesis, Wednesday, yes. The conclusion in the original statement was we are in school. In this counterexample, we said, but we were not in school. So the conclusion from the original statement is false in this counterexample. So that's a false conclusion, no school. Once again, counterexample, you've got a specific example, you've got a true hypothesis, and a false conclusion together. The reason why the other possible counterexample option I gave was not the right counterexample, was because the hypothesis and the conclusion were reversed. So it's very, very, very important when you're working with counterexamples that you start by identifying the hypothesis and conclusion so that you can make sure that you're setting up your counterexample the right way around. And once again, anytime that you can find a counterexample to a conditional statement, it means that the conditional statement is false. Take a moment right now to write down any more notes that you need to make sure you understand this topic, and to write down any questions that you have about this right now. There will be time to go over them next class. Thank you.